Hi everyone, this is Priya going to present one poem, Telephone Conversation by Wole Soyinka. Let us see the setting of the poem. It is not difficult for us to determine and differentiate between anything that is good or bad, or black and white, or old and young. The summary of telephone conversation by Wole Soyinka is an example how a simple communication is affected as we focus too seriously upon our recognizable differences. Resistancy is created to stop all and everything that is needed to form a bond and act as a lubricant between human beings. Also important in this case is to note how Wole Soyinka uses word dipped in racism to create impact that turned out to be highly detrimental to the conversation. Let us see the stanza 1. The price seemed reasonable location, indifference. The landlady showed she lived off permissions. Nothing reminded but self-confession. Madam, I hate a waste journey. I am African. Silence. Silence transmission of pressured good breeding. Let us see the summary of first stanza. In the summary of telephone conversation by Wole Soyinka, the poet talks about two people on the phone and the story goes on to narrate how the African man is looking for a house and the landlady has proposed a considerable price for the same. The poem strikes a positive note as the man gets to know that his privacy won't be harmed as the landlady does not stay on the premises. The African man is happy to know that, and just before he makes up his mind to consider the offer, he drops in to mention that he is black. On the other end of the line, there was nothing but silence, which the African takes it to be an impolite gesture of refusal. Stanza 2. Voice when it came. Lipstick coated, long gold rolled, cigarette holder piped. Cast I was foully. How dark! I had not misheard. Are you light or very dark? Button B, button A, stretched of ranched breath of public hide and speak. Red booth, red pillar box, red double, tried omnibus, scrolling track. Let us see the summary of stanza 2. However, the silence is soon broken as the landlady started to speak again, asking him to explain exactly how dark he is. First, the man thinks that he might have misheard the question, but when the landlady repeats, he understands that this is something very important for her to know before she allows him to rent her house. This is something that came out entirely devastating for the African man, and for a moment he felt disgust with the question and Francis himself to be a machine like the phone, and that he has been reduced to being a button on the phone. He could also smell the foul for her words, and he seems red everywhere all around. Let's see stanza 3 and 4. It was ashamed but ill mannered, silent, surrounded, pushed dumbfounded to beg simplification. Considered she was wearing the emphasis, are you dark or very light? Revelation came. You mean like plain or milk chocolate? He assessed was clinical, trusting in its light. Impersonality rapidly, wavelength adjust. I chose West African Sibia, and as afterthought down in my passport, silent for spectroscopic flight of fancy, chill truthfulness, change her ancient, hard on the mouthpiece, what that, conceding, don't know what that is, like brooding, that dark, isn't it, not all through her. Let us see the summary of stanza 3 and 4. The idea of telephone conversation is to debut how brutal it can be for a man who is subjected to racial discrimination. Thoughts of racism and prenomen come blendly with the element of irony that takes over the theme of telephone conversation. The Afro American man is reduced to shame by the sudden silence from the other side, and he gets into a state of make believe where he thinks that lady broken her silence and gave him opinion to choose and define how dark he is, like chocolate or dark or light. Then he goes on to answer that he is different as West African Sibia in his passport. Let us see stanza 5 and 6. Facially I am bruted, but madam, you should see the rest of me, palm on my hand, sole on my feet. Are you preoxide, blonde, fraction, caste, foolish madam, by sitting down has turned my bottom raven black. One moment, madam, sensing her receiver raring on the thunder slap. About my ear, madam, I plead, won't you rather see for yourself? Summary of stanza 5 and 6. All this while, the man has been holding on to code of formality which breaks looses at the landlady insensibleness. The African man now shout out loud, say that he is black, but he is not that black for anyone to be put to shame. He also says that the sole of his feet and the palm of his hand are all white, but he is fool that he sit on his rare which has turned black due to fraction. He knows that the landlady will never be converted with his black complexion, and he senses that she might slam down the receiver on him. At such a crucial junction, he makes a silly attempt to plead her to come and take a good look at him, but could not help the situation for getting worse. Finally, the landlady slammed down the receiver on his face. The theme of telephone conversation rests upon the conflict between the protagonist and abstract of racism that makes the negative stance toward him. The struggle begins with the protagonist's confession of being an African, a black man, which sparked up the notion of racism inside the landlady who deemed renting him the house. The fear of being judged on the merit of being a black man project a heavy corrupt image of the society where individual is at stake. So thank you all of you. Thank you for watching this video. In next video we will see one more thing. Thank you.